Tonight on Gray Flannel Suits, special guest Chris Evans. Musical talent DJ Iron Lion. And I'm your host, Daniel Sammons. Make sure to like and subscribe for future episodes.
Traveling in a freighter combi on a hippie trailhead full of zombies. I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. She said, "Do you come from a land down under, where women glow and men wonder? Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, better take cover."
Okay. Welcome to the next episode of Gray Flannel Suits. And my goodness, DJ Iron Lion on the tables over there. My goodness. That was old school Men at Work. Am I right?
You got it.
That was amazing.
That's what you want to do. You want to take people back, but you want to give them something they didn't expect. So hopefully your guests and your listeners enjoy that.
Oh, man, that was awesome. And if you don't know, DJ Iron Lion is a force to be reckoned with in the DJ world here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And my goodness, he can bring it out. That was awesome, man. By the way, did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did.
What'd you think?
I felt like the playoffs were just phenomenal. And the Super Bowl, it was right there. But some of the playoff games were just, to me, just like next level. I enjoyed the Super Bowl, but after the playoffs, I was just kind of like, what more can I see? You know? So did you have that same feeling?
I did have that same feeling.
Yeah.
But then again, I was throwing a Rager Super Bowl party, and I missed the whole end of the thing. But what I didn't miss was the halftime show.
That was a good one.
What do you think?
I think it was a throwback. You know, everybody was there but Suge Knight, and we know why. You know, so
yeah.
I'm sure Suge enjoyed watching the Super Bowl from the cell block, wherever the hell he was at, but it was a hell of a show.
He's like, I should be there, and I
should
would have
have
been. Yeah, that was awesome. I think Mary Blige, I got it all messed. Anyway, she did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Eminem did an amazing job. It was awesome to see them all together. Snoop.
Kendrick Lamar. Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar came out of there. And was that Master P on the drums?
You know,
Who was on the drums? Somebody was on the drums.
if you wouldn't have said it, I would have known it. It wasn't Master P, but it was very nice. Yeah.
And it's Mary J. Blige, just to make sure that, I got a little tongue test. All right. So listen, I appreciate everybody watching this. This is the next episode of Gray Flannel Suits, and we've got DJ Iron Lion on the
ones and twos.
On the ones and twos. Thank you, sir. And we've got a special guest in here. And I couldn't be more excited about this person because I've known him for a little while. And we go back. We've got some great stories. But the way you might know him is if you've ever been out for Italian food in Indianapolis, Indiana, this man has one of the best Italian restaurants in the city. And of course, I'm talking about, you know him, you love him, Chris Evans from Sangiovese. Chris, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Wow. I think I'm going to go to Sangiovese tonight.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So, listen, man, you are a man of many talents. I've seen your restaurant business go crazy over the past several years. And, I mean, you're here in the studio. Thank you for coming.
You know, I'm honored. I couldn't believe when you asked me, I was excited. And I mean, if you want to go on a date, you've won me over on just that intro. Wow.
I mean, you're a good-looking dude, but, not my type. Listen, I want to know more about you, man. Like, you and I have talked over a few wines at your bar before. sitting there having a great lasagna, and we've never really got a chance to sit down with Chris Evans and get to know Chris Evans. I mean, it's, surface level, and we've had our fun, but there's so much more to you than I think most people realize. First of all, you're in a hoodie tonight.
You know what? I can't wear a suit jacket every night.
It's the only time I've ever seen you is in a suit jacket.
COVID, as I was just telling Vicky, the COVID got me wearing hoodies more often, and I like them.
Yeah, I like them too. So it's awesome to see you, man. Listen, I think a lot of people would probably want to know a little bit about your background. Like, tell me about yourself. How did you grow up?
So I, born in Indiana, military family, kind of bounced around really for the first beginning of my life. For my memory is Virginia. Born in Indiana, moved to New York, moved to Virginia, lived in Richmond. BMX kid, out our backyard, we could ride motorcycles. So pretty cool family. Then moved to Belgium when I was in 3rd grade through 6th grade. Skateboard punk there, following my older brother who was 4 years older. So we had skateboard ramps everywhere. That's how we grew up, and I couldn't imagine giving my kids in 3rd grade some power tools to build a quarter pipe. But that's who we were, and my parents allowed it. And living in Mons, Belgium, we were real fortunate. We could skate. There's a lot of places to skateboard there. Was able to travel a lot. Fast forward, moved to Indiana in 6th grade, and grew up on the north side. So Eastwood, North Central. Grew up at 71st and Keystone area. Continued on the skateboarding, and that was kind of it. And then, good family. Parents are still married. Brother's doing great, and built a lot of great relationships on the north side of Indianapolis, which is, as I grew up and then went to college, IU, on and off. I wasn't the best student, but you realize how many people all are from Indianapolis and how many great people are from here.
So it's interesting you say 71st, right? Because there were a lot of skaters, skate punks, because I was skate punk, right? My favorite skater was Jeff Kendall, and he was from here in Indianapolis. I don't know if you ever got the chance to meet him, but he skated for Santa Cruz. But there was a good little skate thing for a while. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but back then there was a guy named Byron who could...
One of my favorite skaters.
Yeah, from Broad Ripple, right? And he could launch off of a ramp over cars.
Yeah.
And so you remember that guy?
He was, it's funny, around the corner from me was a half pipe, and a guy named Dan Cummings had it. My brother skated, and he was, as I was thinking back to skateboarding, he and Byron used to hang out together, and there was a period of time, like me, 4 years younger, idolized my brother and his friends, and whatever they did is what I normally did. So BMX bike, I got a BMX bike. Skateboard, I'm going to get a skateboard. And but I remember distinctly Byron and my brother. They might have been just out of high school. I can't remember. And but they both had these red motorcycles. One had like a Ninja, and one had a Hurricane. And they both had the bleached blonde hair. Skater, like, shaved on the sides, and the hair flops over. But Byron was. So I idolized him. But Byron was. I remember. Like, he had an ad in a skateboard magazine, like Schmidt Sticks, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that's who it was. And I was like, he was doing a wall ride, and I was like, this guy's like, he's like a god. And but God bless him, he's not around anymore. But but as a kid growing up, like, wow.
Oh, I didn't know he was. What happened? He passed.
He passed away years ago. I can't remember exactly what happened. I mean, maybe a heart attack or something.
Oh man, because I was like you. I was dumbfounded because usually when you saw those skater videos, that's what it was. It was a video. You didn't actually see your friends pulling off the tricks that he could do. But when you saw it, you knew you were witnessing like greatness, like just the grace of flying through the air over vehicles and landing on the other side. Amazing. Yeah, I share that. So, yeah, Jeff Kendall was cool. He used to hang out with us, and that was back when he just signed. He used to drive around in I think it was an M2... Is it M24 or something like that? A little sports car thing?
Or Toyota?
Yeah,
Toyota. I know what you want to.
Yeah, and we all idolized him, right? So who did you idolize as a skater?
To me, probably skateboarding. I idolized probably Tommy Guerrero. He had him and Natis Kappas, but I always remember Guerrero had like a certain way he ollied, and just like a style of how he kind of flowed through the air and through the streets. And it's I always remember one video where he was going through, I think, San Francisco and like downhill, and just really cool. Just like I say, he just had a style that I gravitated towards, and I had to pick somebody, so it was him.
Well, all right. So I just happen to know that that's your favorite skateboarder, and so I'm going to ask you a few things, right? Because I know who this man is, and I was a big fan of Christian Hosoi. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
He used to do the
special, the Christ,
the Christ hair,
Christ
which
hair,
was awesome, and of course Tony was always amazing. So I do know who this man is, but how big of a fan are you really?
True test. I had a word of his at one point in time, at least.
Who do you think he married?
Speechless. Drew Barrymore.
No, he actually married Melissa Guerrero, so I'm guessing that might be his sister.
Oh.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how much do you really know about the guy? He does a great ollie, right?
Great ollie, great musician, but really great ollie.
Great ollie. What do you are you good at the ollie?
I mean, yeah, I thought I was until I saw a video.
How high could you ollie?
Up a curb.
Off the curb? Okay,
yeah.
That's not bad. And then you watch these guys that would go down the San Francisco streets or sidewalks and ollie over trash cans.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, how is that even possible?
Amazing. That's what I saw when I saw Byron Cothe. Like, he ollied a BMX bike one time. I'm like, mind blowing. Like, didn't even know that was possible.
Hey, DJ Iron Lion, you ever skateboard?
You know what? I did. And it was kind of like a situation where I knew I didn't know what I was doing immediately. I busted my ass. And I was just kind of like, this might not be for me right now. And I never got back into it. But I've got a little brother who, amazingly, I think he's okay with me saying this, he kind of has like a hip issue. Hell of a skater. Kid, he takes him a little bit of time to walk from here to there, but you put him on a skateboard and he's like out there doing his thing. And I'm like, how the hell do you get around your campus? And he's like, my board, man. He's like, I'll go from class to class on a skateboard. And I think that's one of the things that people don't realize is the motion is different than walking, but it also kind of gets the world open in different ways that we don't expect. I've seen dogs on skateboards. I've seen all kind of, you don't expect it, but when you do, you're like, that's effing cool, man,
Yeah. I broke my wrist skateboarding once, and it looked like a monkey hand. Like, it busted off, and it was this much longer going down a half pipe, right? Braced my wrist, snapped it in two. And that was before wrist guards were really out much. So this thing was like, it was weird looking, right? But I didn't stop skating. I was like, we'll keep going. Loved it. Loved the music. Loved all the bands. Who was your favorite skate punk band?
Circle Jerks.
Oh, man. Nobody ever says the Circle Jerks.
Yeah. For some reason, I liked them. I don't know.
Yeah. I love the Circle Jerks. I mean, not the name so much.
I was going to hit you with that one. I'm kind of like, you love to circle jerk or you love these circle jerks, okay?
Yeah. Nah, I get it. And a lot of people, don't know what a circle jerk is. Look it up. Google it.
No, Grandma. Do not do it, Grandma. Right. Stop. Abort mission. Abort.
Do not do it.
I don't know any of their songs, by the way.
Really? Oh, man. They had so many good stuff. So many good things. So, the skateboard thing was an awesome time to grow up. There was a lot of great music. And I think it helped cultivate me for who I am today. What about you, man? I mean, you've got this growing up. You're a military family. What military was your family in?
Army.
Okay. Where'd you live while you were in the military family? Was it all here, or did you go across seas?
Indiana, Virginia, New York, Belgium, and back into Indiana.
Okay. Gosh, so you pretty much were exposed to a lot of things early.
Yeah, I was really lucky. I mean, looking back to live in Belgium, 3rd grade through 6th grade, whatever those ages are, I don't know, 8 to 11 or something like that, or 12. We were real lucky because we were there during the dollar was really strong in Europe, so we got to travel all the time. So as a young kid, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was awesome. Like, we were skiing all the time in Germany, Austria, France. I had a great life and got to see a completely different culture.
That's awesome. So you started skiing early.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
probably. I'm guessing. Yeah, second, third grade, some in that range.
Wow. So
The Bones Brigade.
You,
Bones Brigade.
Bones
sorry.
Brigade, yes. So how does somebody, I'm sure, like, let's back up before we jump into where you are now, but what kind of things were you preparing for that got you in the hospitality industry? Or was it just like, whoa, this is what I'm going to try?
I don't think I thought about owning a restaurant growing up, but I think more, to me, in my experience, life is pretty fluid, and I just followed whichever way the path was taking me, almost like the wave, or almost like what Joseph was talking about on skateboarding and his brother. There's like a fluid motion, and I've just kind of followed it, and this is where I ended up.
I like that. You believe in fluid motion, Joseph?
You know, I'm a computer scientist, so we study a lot of physics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything is always in motion. Even when you're sitting down, you're in a circadian rhythm of your body. You know, your body's telling you, hey, sit down and let me recharge. So everything is connected, like thermodynamics, whatever you want to call it, heat transfer. You know, even right now, my energy to you guys, if I'm like, no, you're like, I'm getting nothing from this guy. But yeah, fluid motion. I'm a big proponent of everybody just realizing that we all are just connected in one big system.
Man, how do you not like this guy?
Man, Joseph's phenomenal.
He's got it figured out, man.
I'm trying. I'm still trying. I got 2 little girls at home, so I'm sleep deprived. So I may say some shit, okay?
What ages?
Oh, my God. They're 8 and they're 10, and they're both going on 21. You know how that is, where they're just like, you know, mommy's the boss daddy. And I'm like, I kind of pay the bills around here. Like, no, you work for her, you know? Yeah. So it's at that great, fantastic age where you really get to learn how a personality is built. And you might say something wrong, and then they repeat it, and you're like, oh, don't say that word around mama, you know? But it's, you know, fatherhood is a blessing to those who are a part of it.
Well, I got an 11-year-old, and I think pretty soon we're going to be picking up a lot extra work to not be in the household for a little while.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just getting into that age, like I've got just seeing where the dynamic's going, and I'm like, might be on the golf course a little bit more often here.
They're fun, but listen, I've got she's about to turn 24-year-old in law school. Couldn't be prouder.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Couldn't be prouder. Thank you. She's amazing. There's a period of time, and you've probably heard comedians say this, but they go through a dad-hating stage for a little bit. It's crazy. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's hormones, but that's coming. So look forward to that. But yeah.
Yeah, just be there.
Congratulations.
She'll come back around when she needs a little bit
always
more
do.
money, or when she gets a heart broken. You're like, yeah, who was their team number 1 from day one, girl?
Right. Yeah.
Always be there.
Absolutely. So I got to ask, man. I mean, you've got this great background so far, right? So, you know, you grew up around here. Where'd you go to high school?
North Central.
Okay.
So 86 and Westfield Boulevard, basically.
Yeah, know exactly where it's at. I was in Carmel. So we're like rivals.
This makes sense now.
Yeah. How about
Same.
you?
I was North Central.
Okay.
We had J. Everett Light Career Center in the back.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Go to that.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Great. Yeah.
So
I used to be Franklin Central, but like the last year, my parents built a house.
Huh.
That put us into, I think, is that the Nora School District? So it's kind of like senior year, all my friends are left in the old high school, and now we're at North Central. I'm just like, this is nice. Okay.
When did you go to Franklin Central?
Jesus. I mean, whenever kindergarten up until I think 97, you know.
97.
Yeah.
All right. So because I went there for a little bit.
Okay.
But not 97. I was like a few years ahead of you. But I went there for a little bit and then ended up graduating from Carmel High School, which is kind of a culture shock when you come from Franklin Central and those areas. But
See, it's a small world, man. You
It
can't
is a
screw
small
over
world.
anybody in Indiana. It's all small. We'll figure it out.
we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. So I'm still trying to figure out the path from Chris Evans from skate punk, if I may.
That would be accurate, yeah.
Yeah, skate punk, snowboarder, world traveler at a young age. You probably went to college somewhere. Where'd you go to college?
A few of them. I went to IU, chased a girl to Ball State for one semester. Then went to IUPUI. Then I left to go snowboard for. I moved to Montana to be a snowboard bum for 2 years. Hence skateboarding. Love snowboarding. And spent 2 years doing that. Went to photography school there. Rocky Mountain School of Photography in Missoula, Montana. Cool experience. And then returned when I was broke. Trying to think. Went back to IU. Didn't know what career path I was on, and life kind of happened, and then didn't graduate. But got everything I wanted out of college. Worked in a restaurant, fell in love with it. Ambrosia in Broad Ripple.
Oh, yeah.
Still there. It's in a new location now, but learned a lot from that family. And at that point in time, I realized I wanted to. First, I thought I wanted in a jazz club. Evolved in the restaurant, and when I worked in Ambrosia, I realized how awesome it was, because all these customers, regulars, become extensions of your family, and I just really enjoyed it. You don't know if I'm going to see Dan one day a week, but probably I am. When you used to live upstairs of the old Sangiovese, but it was contagious, and I was fortunate enough to eventually open a place, ice cream burger shop in Broad Ripple, and then buy Sangiovese, and then it kind of spiraled out from there.
Which, by the way, living above Sangiovese at Ironworks, man, like, you guys were my kid. I didn't have food. I was a bachelor. So I had like a few things in the fridge, but I was almost there every night. But man, I fell in love with you, fell in love with your staff. And that's another thing, like when you talk about how you get to that, which we're going to get to in a minute. But before we do, let's take a quick break and let's listen to some DJ Iron Lion.
Tribute to Prince, a nice song that you never know who was out there making love to this song back in the day. Oh, yeah. Could have been my daddy, could have been your daddy and mama. If you're under 25, I'm just gonna say it's you.
This is what it sounds like when it does cry. Maybe you will the picture of you and I engaged in a kiss.
This will hurt when he died. I felt this when Prince died. We were like, oh no. Right? Am I right?
Can you picture
it was the worst.
An ocean of violets in bloom. Animals try curious poses. They feel the heat between me and you. Just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold. Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what sounds like when it does cry. This is what it sounds like when it does cry. Oh, when they cry. This is what it sounds like when it does cry. Chill you in my stomach.
That sounds phenomenal.
Feel how it trembles inside. You've got the butterflies all tied up. Don't make me chase.
Oh yeah.
How in the world did Chris go from skater punk to snowboard punk, traveling the world, almost dropping out of college, but didn't quite, but yeah, to amazing hospitality industry entrepreneur. How did you do it?
No easy answer, but in huge compliment, thank you. These two, I always did odd jobs growing up. I mean, I was always working, making money, was always good at money, was always good at saving money, and I always knew that I wanted to work for myself in some shape or form. I didn't know what that was. I mean, in fact, I even remember, because I was not a good student, at least grades-wise, and I remember my mom sent me to a career counselor, and it was probably junior year, senior year, something like that, and it was, they came to that I would be a teacher or own my own business. And at some point, I would love to teach a class, to give back. However, and I think they're both kind of the same thing of the way your mind works. So at that time, did I know I was going to own a restaurant? No, but I always kind of looked to work for myself. I could never fathom, and it's no disrespect to anybody, but the sitting at a desk, looking at a computer for 8 hours a day or plus, I would rather go flip cheeseburgers or mow grass or do whatever. It's just kind of how I am. And that's how it's worked. I mean, I think I was able to save some money, and then, like I say, I fell in love when I worked at a restaurant, waiting tables, bartending, became a manager. I fell in love with the relationships you built, and I was like, oh, they're all literally an extension of your family. Was able to learn from that experience. What evolved from a bar, jazz club, where in my mind I could hang out with my friends and drink for free. I realized I would be floating the bill for all that. And it evolved into fine dining, which I never realized was going to happen, but it just kind of organically it happens. Like I say, it's kind of like a fluid motion of life, and you just kind of accept whatever's coming at you and you grow with it. And I was fortunate enough to work for a great family that I learned great things from, bad things from, things that worked for me, things that didn't work for me, and was able to go out and buy a great restaurant, and that's evolved, and it's grown, and I've just been very, very fortunate to be, along with that, to be surrounded by great people.
And we're going to get into that in a second, but before we do, did you start out with a great restaurant, or did you have some trial and errors to try to figure out what works and what doesn't?
The only trial and error I had was I was trying to buy a fine dining restaurant. I was trying to buy all these restaurants, not all of them, but one at a time. But and they just happened to, they were all in Broad Ripple at the time. Independent owners, really nice restaurants, and they all fell through. They were all heartbreaking. You're young. I was probably started looking at those like 25, 26. And each one that fell through was like heartbreaking. You have all your eggs in one basket. You think you're visualizing driving that Ferrari, being a big shot, having that restaurant, and then it doesn't happen, and you're just you don't even know what you're going to do. So as I was still looking for places, an opportunity presented itself. It was at the I don't know how many people up here will remember the Monkey's Tail.
Oh yeah,
great place, brought up a late night, huge patio.
Yeah. Great karaoke.
They had, yes. I think on Sundays they did the karaoke, if I remember correctly. But
yeah, on the screen. Yeah.
Yep. But they had a small building. It was originally the Jazz Cooker, and it was between the Broad Ripple Steakhouse and the Monkey's Tail. You would have thought it was the Monkey's Tail, but it was a separate landlord. I partnered with a friend. There was a lease opportunity there, and I partnered with a friend, and we turned that space that was not being used for anything into it was a fried food shack.
Huh. Are you talking to the left of the Monkey's Tail?
If you're facing it, it would have been to the left. So it would have been east.
That became a steakhouse, right?
next door to it was a steakhouse.
Okay.
So in
Okay.
between, which was
Oh.
kind of like you would almost thought it was the Monkey's Tail.
Right. I remember that place.
It was, we turned it into a cheeseburger, all fried food, and ice cream. Last minute, once Ben & Jerry's and Broadway closed, I added the ice cream to it right before we opened up, which was the best thing we had. But it was a fried food place. And it was great. It was fine. But I didn't want to be in a business where it was late night drunks, because that's where all the money was. Ice cream in the daytime, and then you're waiting until 2:30 in Broadway for people to come get a greasy cheeseburger, which is fine. It serves its purpose, but it was not. There wasn't really any enjoyment other than building it.
So, how do you go from that? Sounds like a setback, right? That's a little bit of a setback.
It was a
Learning curve.
it was one of the steps forward.
Perfect. I love that. Fail forward. Right. So, how do you? I mean, without getting into the rest of your story yet, because I know everybody's like really intrigued, but how do you keep going when hit with setback like that? Because some people get head trash, right? And they get down on themselves and they give up. Now, everybody's told in America that you can be whatever you want to be. You can have whatever business is you want to be, right? Like, this is the greatest place on earth to do exactly that. And then you put your first foot forward and you fail. So how do you get back up?
You know, you either, I think if you are a business owner or you work in the workforce, you either sink or swim. And you just keep moving forward. I mean, I remember I had a great restaurant I was going to buy, once again in Broadway, one of the many, and it was the one that looked like it was the closest to being done. And I remember a week before I got married, it fell through. And I was like, I mean, it was really catastrophic to me. It was like I had visualized this thing, and then it was like it didn't happen. We had the LOIs, we had lawyers involved, let alone I'm getting married in a week. And I'm like, oh, wow, like it's just poof, gone. But you just keep going. And, you know, so that was a very hard one because now how do I explain to my future in-laws and so forth that they think I'm just like a BS, or like, oh, you're always talking about these things and it doesn't happen. What do you, who's this guy?
Right.
How are you going to take
in-laws.
care of my daughter? And,
Right.
So you just evolve, you know, and everything happens for a reason. I mean, that situation made me stronger and made me who I am today. And it made me see this opportunity opened up within that village area of opening a burger ice cream place that I would never visualized while I was still looking for a fine dining restaurant. And it was, I mean, you're always hit with blows. It just, how do you navigate them? You know, it's like driving down the street. Like, as I come down to, like, you know, now I live where you grew up in Carmel. There's no potholes, chuck holes, whatever you want to call them. And then as soon as I cross 86th Street, I'm like, oh my God, I'm dodging these things. Thank God I have rim insurance.
Yeah.
So you're always navigating life, and you're always pivoting, moving, and I opened up a fried food place. It was great. It was called the Village Kitchen. I made the sign for that place in my backyard. So it was very fortunate to sell it because I realized it was not going to be, I didn't take pride in it, and I didn't think it was going to be profitable unless I worked it, and I didn't want to work it. And then was fortunate enough, you know, at that time my wife was trying to get me, she's like, well, maybe you should get a job. You know all these people. Maybe you should become a wine rep. You like wine, or I was like, and I realized, I was like, you know, at the time I was playing a lot of cards. I was fortunately doing well, playing poker and so forth. But I was looking at that time as an indie classifieds, and maybe they still have them. I don't know. It was the pre-Indeed type thing, and I'm looking in there. I'm like, I've never really applied for a job. Like, how do you do that? Like, what resume do I have?
Right.
No, I'm dead serious. I was like, I know these people, but like, shit, like I can't call these people and say, hey, can you hire me? Like, this didn't happen. This didn't happen. Like, it just wasn't who I was.
Right.
So then, fast forward, a friend of mine told me this Sangiovese was for sale, and we were able to make it work, and
Now,
bought that 2007.
exactly, 2007. Now, I remember Sangiovese, right? And you definitely had your trial and errors, but you kept going, which is a testament to anybody, because we can fall as long as we fall forward. Is how I look at it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're falling, okay, but fall forward and know that you're falling forward. Don't get in your own head and think I failed and that's the end of the story. It's not if you learn from it.
Oh yeah, I agree. There's so many things that I myself was trying to do as a DJ that I didn't know I was messing up. But as you put in the work, people who see you who are messing up will come and say, hey, A, B, C are good, but D, E, F, G, H, all these other things are going to increase your profit. And there's so many times where I'll see a guy and I'm like, how much are you charging to do this work? He's, oh, I'm doing this. I said, okay, you didn't bring this, you didn't bring that, you didn't upsell your customer here. They want this value. They're only going to get married once in their life. And if you don't give them an option to have that on the table, then you're kind of doing them a disservice. So when you're talking about failing and then just keep moving, my dad used to say, if you're going through hell, keep going. Don't
Love it.
stop and stay in hell. You keep going. You're going to push through that storm, you know. So
100%.
hard, man.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and people get like my dad used to say, if you want greatness in this world, you're going to be willing to put your balls on the line, right? Because nothing comes by you sitting back and being cautious.
Oh, yeah.
You have to take a chance on being great, and you learn from that. And you might fail,
Yeah.
but again, you fail forward.
You've
right?
invested in yourself at some point. You don't lose it all. The knowledge of failure is actually something.
It's powerful.
Yeah, and I want to get a side note. I do research, and I tell students, I'm like, when you fail at your research, publish all the failures, because now the person behind you doesn't follow behind you and do the same mistake. They know that you closed down this pathway, you know, and now everybody's looking in the right direction. So if you don't humble yourself and just tell people I failed, you're going to see so much support rather than just being braggadocious and
Yeah,
puffing
dude.
your chest out, you know?
Love that.
Oh, yeah.
Humble yourself. The best people in the world that have achieved the most have humbled themselves at some point in time.
Oh, yeah.
True statement.
You know, typically, I love what Joseph said. Whenever somebody asks me for advice, I will typically tell them, I can tell you all these things that don't work, at least for me. And it is what it is. I mean, but you never stop. You don't. Who wants to stop in hell? Who wants to sink in the ocean? We're all fighters. What do you want? You want to like succumb? Like, no, sink or swim. I mean, and there's more things along the way of my journey. You know, the recession, the pandemic, and all these things that like I got all this stuff on the line. I got family. I got employees. and I have life. It's all living. You can't stop. I mean, it doesn't work? Well, pivot, change.
Pivot. Yep. Pivot. Move.
Yeah.
Right? Don't stay in the same position. But yet so many people get complacent,
Yeah.
right? They get complacent and they're well, this is me now. And it doesn't mean that's you now. It means that, hey, you need to redefine a few things, learn from your failures, and pivot. Yeah, I agree 100%. 100%.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, it is good stuff. So, listen, that's one of the failures, right? Like, in fact, I would put myself out there, Joseph, that if you hadn't failed, Chris, early on in some of those adventures that you had, and you learn from them, like the Village Kitchen in Broderbolt, the Greasy Spoon, I believe, or something.
We had very good ice cream, though. Somebody else made it.
That's all that matters to the kids.
Right.
To the kids.
Rush hour was 7:30 to 8:30 after the restaurants closed.
Wow.
But if you hadn't had that experience, you wouldn't know how to direct a staff, how to be the person that they respect and they look up to, and that they're willing to work their butts off for your customers right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Like, if you didn't have those failures, you wouldn't have learned. And yeah, that's part of it.
100%. I mean, you can't there's really not failures. They seem like failures at the time, but they're all learning blocks of like maybe they're just, it's a difficult page to read or a difficult poem to understand. It's just, they make you who you are. I mean, I've had business relationships that didn't work and partnerships, and not because they were bad people, but just because we didn't work together and it felt like a failure. And I mean, I did one project that felt like the biggest failure of my life. It'll fast forward on some things, but I learned so much from that partnership and that business. They all make you who you currently are. I mean, they had to have been. I'm thinking Joseph had to have some show he showed up to, a wedding, a giant nightclub in Vegas or something, where like he forgot a chord, he forgot this, and he had to just jump and dance and make it work. Or he was playing music that he didn't see the people there gravitating towards. And like, you know what? That's like the amazing thing. I always tell people the DJs didn't used to get the respect that the musicians got, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But any good DJ and musician is an artist, and they control the flow of what's happening at that exact moment. And they say, oh, you know what? Let's pick this up 2 decibels. Let's get the attention there. Yep. And it's dying down, but this is a work party, a corporate event, and you know what? Let's keep the momentum. Let's make these people happy. The hors d'oeuvres already went out. Everybody's got a drink, and now they don't know. So, they were all graduates of the '90s. Maybe they know Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or something. Maybe they know some song of Summertime or whatever it might be, and he knows how to pick it back up. So the failure wasn't like you hit a dip. It's how do you pick it back up?
You agree with that?
Oh, yeah. And I always tell new J, I'm a veteran DJ, and young kids come up behind me, they want to do something. I say, you might play a great set, but at the end of the night, sit down and talk to the bartenders. They'll tell you if you did a good set, because they're going to hear it first. If you suck, the people are complaining to the bartenders, or they're not buying drinks. I said, don't get your head inflated. Oh, I'm Mr. So-and-so. Every market is different. Some people may want to hear more R&B. They might want to just chill, the vibe. You got to get that energy back. You don't just hit them with, I don't want to say aggressive EDM, but, not every song is for every situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I very much believe, that we're all part of a team. And as we grow together, we learn together, we teach each other. And you might have a bartender say, hey, here's my playlist of what I play. And then you're like, oh, it's trash. But then you play that song, and it's a banger. You were never going to play it. And she said, here's my playlist. And you play it, and everybody's
right.
Like, you're the man. And you're like, no, that's Stacy behind the bar. She knows you guys more than me. I didn't know that you guys drink and sing to this song all the time. But she's there every day.
Well, my guess is, Joseph, when you hear that, when they give that request, and maybe you're hesitant, maybe you're not, then you see what direction that crowd wants to go.
You need change.
And energy is energy. So if they're feeling it, like I can only imagine being like, I was in a nightclub recently and I watched this DJ, amazing. I was telling Dan about it earlier. I'm not a nightclub person, but like the energy was killer. The lights were thumping, the steam was coming, or like, it was actually cold steam coming from the ceiling, whatever you call that.
CO2
it was pretty cool.
Exhaust.
Like it was like, but it's like master blast. You're like, oh wow, it's like I feel this energy. Like it's so. I can't imagine being the guy that's behind it, orchestrating it. Like that's got to feel. It's not about the money. Then it's self gratifying, and the money. But too.
I've only had one DJ set where perfect energy. At that point, it's like a third eye on your forehead is just opening up, where you're just like, oh my God. And I say that's what every decent DJ should be doing, is reading their crowd and creating that whole move. You can just tell everybody's just like, this is what we came for. They don't always get it, but when they see it, they know it, So
that brings me to a good point, because there's a lot of DJs that are trying to start out right now across the country, even locally, which some of them you might know. What if you could give one biggest thing as man, you got to make sure you do this as a DJ to be successful, to get rebooked at places. What do you think that one thing would be? Let's make it 3. We can make it 3. Because I think it's pretty. It's a big,
I
wide
would say
thing.
read energy, and it's hard to say. Have you heard of people who have synthesia? I think I'm saying that right. It's kind of like music. They see the music. So
No.
I'll give you an example.
I've seen music before.
A guy named DJ Orion, Hugh Jeffner. You guys know who
Yeah,
he is.
I know
Jeff
he is.
Poston.
Yep.
He has this ability where he's like, Joe, I see the music. I see the wave. And I said, dude, when you're there, it's like your eyes are here with us, but they're seeing something else. And I said, I didn't know that about you. But for me, it's more about, am I dancing? Do I want to be down there with you dancing? Is this making my foot tap? So I say for that, don't play songs that you don't want to dance to. And if you want to be a DJ, go see other DJs play and dance to their music. And don't just go all the time to the same club. Go to different clubs. And the final thing is, when you go to see your favorite DJ, come the first hour and stay the last hour. Because the first hour, when hardly anybody's there, he's playing for himself, or he's testing out the songs that he's going to play during the peak. And at the end, he's like, okay, this is the song I was trying to work in. I couldn't get out, but here you go. So that's where you hear the gems, So I'm
That's
like, okay.
awesome.
Yeah, but toward the middle, when it's all full, it's all top 40. We can't be too experimental. We can't go too far and lose the whole crowd, and then 30% walk out the door, which means 30% of the bar clientele is now gone. So
That
I'll say
is
that.
awesome. That's good news.
Good. Hopefully,
Yeah.
somebody
So
listening.
either come early or come late. Come early and then come back. Yeah, that's awesome.
I think you go to the club the entire time. Not from a club guy.